morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth, and I am living in the light, documenting my healthy lifestyle. I started out documenting my 160-pound weight loss, and I have now reached that goal weight, and now I am working to maintain that weight loss and sharing healthy recipes with you, healthy lifestyle choices, and just encouragement along the way for you to be able to do the same thing. If you like this kind of content, could I invite you to please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please give this video a thumbs up. It just lets me know that you like seeing these healthy recipes, you want to see more of them, and I have more ideas coming along the lines, so please make sure you're subscribed. And if you want to share my recipes or my videos on other social media channels, you have my permission to do that. Please like and share. For quite a while now, I've been talking about protein bars and making my own because I really try to avoid a lot of artificial ingredients as much as I possibly can. And so I want to try to make things as naturally as I can to live a healthy lifestyle. Now, I found a few bars out there that I really like that are pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of stevia. I'm not a huge fan of monk fruit. I just really try to avoid all of those. Now, one of the ingredients I'm using today does have one of those ingredients in it, and I'll talk about that when I get there. But for the most part, I try to do things in a very healthy way. So I have my oven right now preheating to 375. I have done this as bars, and I'll show you what those look like. But today I'm going to take the same mixture and I'm going to make it as cookies just to see how that comes out a little bit differently. It's the exact same mixture, so you can do it either way, and I'll talk about that as I go along. So first thing, I want to make sure I put an apron on just so I don't get anything on me while I work this morning. Again, my oven is preheated to 375, and I have 2 cookie sheets that are lined with parchment paper. You could use silicone mat, or you could spray, I guess, a cookie sheet with some baking spray. I would not do it with no protection at all. I have a feeling that this might be a little bit sticky. So I'm gonna make my mixture in my KitchenAid, and already in here I have 1 cup of bananas that I actually ran through my KitchenAid earlier this morning because they were frozen, and so I just beat them up until they were mush, and now they're pretty much thawed and ready to go. So 1 cup of bananas, and to that I'm gonna add 2 cups of, this is old-fashioned rolled oats. This is what I use to make my oatmeal in the morning. If you wanted to use quick oats, you probably could do that without any trouble. I also have a 1/2 cup of ground flax. I have 1/4 cup of coconut. Now this is unsweetened dried coconut flakes. It happens to be toasted because I made my husband a coconut cream pie for his birthday. That's his favorite, and it called for toasted coconut, and so this was the leftover coconut. So yours doesn't have to be toasted. Mine just is because that's what I had. A 1/2 cup of chopped pecans, and the size of it doesn't really matter. I am going to add a 1/2 cup of egg whites. Now this is like egg beaters, so it has some coloring in it. And that's all egg beaters are, or egg substitutes typically are just egg whites with some beta carotene. Sometimes they have some additional vitamins, but look on the label and just look for egg whites and beta carotene. Otherwise, just get the plain straight up egg whites. I like to have an egg scramble, and I like to use egg whites over whole eggs because higher protein, lower fat. So that's why I have the yellow kind. Otherwise, I would just use egg whites. If you don't want to purchase pre-separated eggs, you can use the whites of about 4 eggs will equal a 1/2 cup of egg whites. Then I'm going to add in 1/3, I'm going to grab my spatula because I want to make sure I get it all. 1/3 cup of pure maple syrup. This is not pancake syrup. This is not fake. This is 100% pure maple syrup. It's 1/3 cup. And then I have a 1/2 cup of almond butter. This is no salt added, just straight up almonds. If you look at the label, I get the almond butter, not the organic one because it's more expensive and I'm not worried about my almond butter being organic. But if you want to do organic, you can. I just want to save the expense. So it's a half of a cup of almond butter. And then the next to the last thing I'm going to put in here, well, I'll do it as the last thing. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of, this is homemade vanilla extract. If you haven't caught my video, I have a video on how I make my vanilla extract. And then this is the only processed ingredient that I include in here, and that is protein powder, because I want to make sure I've got a lot of protein in these bars. And so I use the Orgain organic protein powder, not sponsored. This is the only thing that has something in it. I mean, everything is organic in here, including the erythritol. I'm not a huge fan of any sweeteners other than maple syrup, but that is in the protein powder. And this is what I get this at Costco. I use it in my Ninja Creamy. I'm going to be showing you a video of that, how to make ice cream with that. But this is what I use. It has some erythritol in it, but it is certified organic. And this is the chocolate protein powder. It is 184 grams. I just weigh it on the scale and make sure that I have 184 grams. So everything goes into my KitchenAid. You could do this any stand mixer. You could probably mix it up by hand, but this just saves time to do it this way. So I'm going to give this a mix. Okay, we are all mixed up here, and as I said, this mixture is really kind of sticky. And the great thing about, you can mix this, you could mix this for 5 minutes in your stand mixer and it wouldn't matter because there's no flour in it. So it's not, you're not going to be developing any gluten in it that's going to make cookies be tough or overdone. So don't feel like, oh, I can only mix it for a minute, or I have to mix it by hand, because I don't want, if you are a baker, you know, things that have flour, you have to be very careful how long you mix it, because if you mix too long, you develop too much gluten and you can make breads and cakes very tough. I'm gonna start out with a big baking sheet. I have it covered with parchment paper, and this is a jumbo scoop. It holds a 1/4 cup of mixture. So that's what I'm doing, is 1/4 cup scoops of this mixture. And I think I could probably put about 8 or so on a cookie sheet. Let's see how many I can get. They're not gonna spread very much. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna flatten them out a little bit in just a minute. Actually, maybe I'll just do 6 on a sheet, and I'll get one more cookie sheet, because I think I should end up with 18 cookies. This is one of those situations where you really want to make sure that you have level scoops, because I really want to make sure that I have these cookies all fairly equal. So I'm going to steal a little bit from some of the cookies that may have had a little bit of extra on the scoop. So just make sure you do really level scoops, so that you can have exactly 8, because this makes 18 servings. And so you want to make sure that your scoops are all equal. The last thing I'm going to do is just kind of flatten these out a little bit. And I found that wet fingers and just a little pat, I don't have to spread them out very much. I just want them a little bit flattened out. Again, my oven is preset for at 375. I'm going to bake 2 trays at a time. So I'm going to set these over here while I flatten the next one. And I'm gonna bake these for about 15 minutes. So I'm gonna pop these into the oven and set my timer for 15 minutes. So I'll flatten these last ones out and set them aside. I forgot to do that to that other tray, and maybe I'll take care of it when they come out of the oven, but I'll show you the other thing that you can do if you like like a salted type cookie, like a dark, it's not really dark chocolate, but this is Maldon flaked salt. So it's really, if you could see this, it's very large flakes. And oh, it's an amazing salt. I'm just gonna put a little bit on each one of these cookies. It just gives it a nice little added something to it. So you can do it or not. I am actually a similar recipe. Forgot to pick up the vanilla protein powder when I was at Costco yesterday. So I am gonna do that, and I'm gonna do a version of these that's not chocolate, that has, I think I might try to do something with some dried fruit in it, and we'll see how that comes out. But let me just give you the macros on each one of these cookies. If you follow this mixture and you make 18 cookies or 18 bars, which I did in a 9x13 pan, and then I cut them. The problem is it was really hard to cut them exactly equal. So my bars are not all exactly the same size. These are gonna be more accurate every single time that I eat one. It's gonna be about the same. I could have probably weighed the mixture to make sure that everything weighed the same. But you can do it as bars. What I did for the bars was I took a 9x13 pan and I lined it with parchment paper and put the mixture in there, and then I lifted that out and cut it into 18 pieces. The problem with my 9x13 is that it's got the rounded, curved edges, so I think a better type bar pan would be the kind that has the very straight sides. That way you know you're getting the mixture, every piece can be the exact same size. So that's something that I need to get, one of those pans. I just don't have one. So here's the macros on each one of these cookies. If you divide it equally in 18 pieces, each one will be 195 calories. That's very equivalent to a lot of protein bars. It has 9.2 grams of protein, 20 grams of carbohydrates, and 9.7 grams of fat. And just as a comparison, this is the Simply Protein peanut butter chocolate bar that I got this at Costco. It has 150 calories. It has more protein, 15 grams of protein. It has less carbohydrates, 14 grams of carbs, and less fat, 4.5 grams of fat. So it is lower in those things, but this is more like a Rice Krispie texture, and it's super, super sweet. And so I don't eat these very often. This is my very favorite, Bear Bells. It's like a candy bar. So if you are in the need of a candy bar, this one actually is a lot closer in some of the macros. It has 200 calories, so it's higher in calories by 5. It has 7 grams of fat, so it has a little less fat. It has 20 grams of carbs, so the same number of carbs, and it has 20 grams of protein. So this is much higher in protein. This is the highest in protein. The only problem with this one is that it is sweetened with, I think maltol might be a sweetener, and sucralose, which I'm really not a big fan of sucralose, but so I don't do these very often. This is like, I really need a candy bar fix. I'm not a huge sweet person, so that doesn't happen very often, but I love those Bear Bells. Or if I really am in need of something quick and I just don't have time to put something together. These are sweetened with inulin, which I'm really finding I like that idea. It's something that's extracted from plants, and your body does not process it the way it processes sugar. So inulin and allulose are two great sweeteners to look for. They don't affect me the way stevia. I can't stand the taste of stevia and monk fruit. I'm just not a fan at all. So I stay away from stevia when I can. There are a few things that I have that have stevia in it, like the yogurt that I eat in the morning sometimes has stevia in it. But anyway, I'm gonna let these cookies cook. I'll show you what they look like when they are done. Here's what they look like. I just went ahead and sprinkled some of the salt on them already. I'm gonna remove them from the cookie sheet and let them cool completely. And then I would, these don't have any preservatives in them, mind you. So just like if you were doing Optavia fuelings, for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you would want to refrigerate or freeze these for the future. This makes 18. I wouldn't eat more than one. I mean, personally, I like a variety in my diet. So, you know, if I had one of these a day, it's going to take me 18 days, so 2.5 weeks to get through them. I wouldn't leave them sitting out. So I would probably freeze them in batches of 6 and just pull out a baggie. And that will probably last me a full week, because I probably won't have one every single day. But I might. These are absolutely delicious. I hope that you will give them a try. They're super easy to throw together. Like in 30, I mean, not including baking time, you know, you can have them thrown together in 10 or 15 minutes, and then they take 15 minutes a tray to bake. And I did 2 at a time, and then I've got my 3rd tray in the oven now. So, you know, in under an hour, I can have all of these done and have a delicious protein bar. I hope that you will give these a try. Leave me comments in the comments box below of things that you'd like me to try. To come up with recipes for. I love to create recipes and do fun things. This is something that I did completely on my own based on several other recipes that I've seen, and just trying to find ways to boost the amount of protein that I have in a day. So until I see you next time, please live in the light.